Hi, friends. Today we're going to be talking about human proportion, or the size of body parts when you are drawing. So today we're going to be starting with, you'll need 2 pieces of paper, and you will likely need 2 whole sheets of paper. And you'll need a bottle cap of some sort, like from a water bottle, or if you have a quarter, that would also work. And we're going to start by tracing your bottle cap. And when you trace your bottle cap, what you're actually creating is the head for your figure or your person. So this bottle cap is going to help us create an even shape. And we're going to use this bottle cap to measure out each section of the body. So we're going to do the chest and abdomen. We'll do the waist and hips first, okay? So your chest and your abdomen are like where your heart and lungs and stomach are. And if you look at the body proportions drawing on the slide earlier, you'll notice that the chest and the abdomen are about 2 head lengths long, okay? So you're going to take your bottle cap, and I want to scoot mine in a little bit, just like this. And I'm going to make a mark at the top of my bottle cap and then a mark at the bottom of my bottle cap. So that's 1 head length, right? It's if this is my head, 1 head length. And I'm going to take my bottle cap and I'm going to put it at the bottom, at that bottom mark I just made. And then I'm going to make another mark here. So this is how tall the chest and abdomen are going to be, okay? Now, to figure out how wide the shoulders should be, the shoulders, if I draw a line right here, this is going to be like where your center chest bone is. You can feel where your 2 sides of your ribs connect. It's called your sternum. That's the middle part of your chest. And on one side of this line, I'm going to put my bottle cap. So you see how this middle line over here, I'm going to draw a line. And that's how far out this shoulder is going to go. Now, while we're doing this, there are definitely going to be times when you're like, Mrs. Savory, that doesn't look right. It might not look right now, but when we put it all together, it will make way more sense. Okay, so this is the right shoulder. Now I'm going to put my bottle cap here where that center line is. And then I'm going to draw a line on the other side of my bottle cap, and that's how wide this shoulder is going to be, okay? Sound good? Now at the bottom here, at this bottom line for the bottom of the abdomen, I'm going to put my bottle cap so it's kind of covering up that bottom line. And I'm going to put 1 mark on each side of my bottle cap, on the left side and the right side. And these lines for the shoulders are actually going to reach down like this. Okay, so your shoulders are wider than your waist, or the skinniest part of your tummy. So when you draw from the edge of your shoulders, they'll reach down like that to the waist. And then you can just draw a straight line across. And like I said, it might look funny now, but it will make more sense when we put it all together. So we've got our head. I'm actually going to label these. Head. And then we're going to say this is the chest and abdomen. You do not have to label these. Mrs. Savory just is, so that you can make sure that you can see them. Okay, so you can kind of make sense. While we're doing this drawing, feel free to pause if there is a part that's really tricky for you. So the next thing that we're going to draw is the hips. So your hips are where your legs connect to your body. So from here, we're going to scoot down a little bit. We're not going to connect our hips to our torso, even though normally they are connected. And we're going to move it down a little bit because we don't want them to be connected right now. Now I'm going to make a mark at the top of my bottle cap for the top of my hips, a mark at the bottom of my bottle cap for the bottom of my hips, and then one mark on each side. Okay, and this is going to serve as your hips. So I'm just going to kind of connect all these lines, and it'll be pretty much a square. Okay. Now, this isn't going to look exactly like a human, but it's going to give you an idea for the proportion or sizes of a real human. The shapes might not be exact, but it will be a good gauge for proportion or sizes. All right, so you did the two hardest parts. The next parts that we need to do are the arms and the legs. And the arms and the legs are actually really, really simple because you're just going to have to draw each section once, and then you can just cut it out and then trace and then cut it out again. We're not going to draw each individual one, if that makes sense. So let's start with the arms, okay? I'm going to label this hips. So we're going to start with the arms, and I'm going to start over here. Now, the top part of your arm from your shoulder to your elbow is 2 head lengths long, okay? So I'm going to use my bottle cap. This is 1 head length. And then 2 head lengths. And when you draw the top part of your arm, you don't want it to be too skinny, okay? So I'm going to draw I'm just kind of drawing a rectangle, but I'm curving the edges. So I'm going to label this top arm. And remember, we're only going to draw one of each of these. So we'll do the top arm. Okay, so now that we have one top arm, we got to do it again. And we're going to try our very best to make these the same size. So I'm going to use my bottle cap to measure out the length here. And I want to try to make sure that this arm is as wide as this arm. All right. Now I want you to look at your arms and make sure they're about the same, and make sure they're about the same width too. They should be about as wide as your finger. Mine is a little bit skinnier, but I think it'll still be okay. So there's my top part of my arms. Then for the bottom section of your arm, your forearm here, it's just 1 head length long. So I'm going to draw top, bottom, that's 1 head length. And then the bottom part of your arm is usually skinnier than the top part of your arm. So I'm going to make it a little bit skinnier. So I'm going to draw 1 and 2. This is the bottom part of my arm. This is the bottom part of my arm. It's also called your forearm. Okay, so I'm going to write forearm. Okay, so here we have our arms. Now we get to do our legs. Your legs are actually from your hip to your knee. They are 2 head lengths long. 1, 2. And the top part of your leg from your hip to your knee is usually wider than your arms, right? I hope your legs are wider than your arms, because you need a lot of muscles in your legs to stand up and walk. You don't need as many big muscles in your arms because you don't have to walk on your arms. All right, so that's my first top part of my leg. Here's the second top part of my leg. And then I'm going to label this. Again, you do not have to be labeling these, but I am, just so that you can see what Mrs. Avery has already completed. Now, the bottom part of your leg is 2 head lengths long, just like the top part, but it's going to be thinner. Typically, the bottom part of your leg is a little thinner than the top part of your leg. So I'm going to make the bottom part of my leg a little bit thinner, and maybe toward the bottom, I could make it even thinner, because towards your ankles, your leg gets thinner. So this is the bottom leg. Now you need to draw one more. And then you guys, you're all done. We just have to draw this last leg and then a really simple shape for our hands and our legs, and you have done it. All right, now for your hands and your feet, you can just draw. I'm going to draw an oval for my feet, and then an oval for this hand, and then I'll draw an oval for that hand too. Okay, so these are the feet, and these are the hands. Okay, so you are going to put this somewhere safe so that you can pick it up next week.